back again. The DefiWind 2025. We've got another brand video coming up. I did promise you we have got Exocet next. Some really interesting boards, niche markets, interesting stuff. I mean, check out the big race board behind me. We're going to be talking about this thing. It's a beauty. I've got a longboard racing background, but we've obviously got the main man, Mr. Patrice Belbeoch, Wave World Champion in 1996. Six. See, I'm like a historian. And obviously other championships, but obviously you are the main man behind Exocet. We chatted last year, but I have noticed there's a few different boards around. We can have a chat about them.
Yeah, we keep developing quite a lot.
Yeah.
So we go a bit everywhere, you know, longboards. A lot of people are dedicated longboards, and we also take care of fall boards.
Yeah.
Obviously, also all the range around the wave
Well,
sailing.
you've got the full range, and I was just saying, so a lot of niche products as well.
Yes.
Which probably you're doing well with because you are the kind of owner of those small markets.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're probably not small. I don't know.
Well, it looks small. For example, the raceboard is a very dynamic program, and there's a lot of people racing on raceboard around the world.
Yeah.
And
Should we have a look? Have a look at it. We're going to come on to. You can see in the background this foil board is really interesting. But we're going to start off with the RS 380.
so this one is a new one, brand new shape. Designed with Marcos Ruiz from Argentina.
Okay.
He's a very good raceboarder. He did development R&D with Kuro, and this board is already winning every single championship everywhere.
I mean,
World champion, Argentina, Spain, France.
wow.
So did a very good job.
Yeah.
And
And it is, like I say, there's still a strong scene in that raceboard market. And I know I keep banging on about it, but I grew up raceboarding. So I got to be honest, when I'm looking around here, there's loads of fancy boards. But actually, I walk past your stand, I'm like, ooh, because this looks a beauty.
yeah, well, a lot of people and I also enjoy to go raceboarding, especially upwind on the dagger.
Yeah.
You know, you have this kind of power you don't get from anything else, you know.
Yeah.
Full railing, going to 10 to 15 knots upwind, but it feels amazing. Even if the speed is not that high, but it's
And
really fun sailing.
everything's got a bit bigger. You know, when I used to do raceboard, it was kind of the early Ultra Cat was when I was in it. You know, F2 Lightning, then the Mega Cat came. You know, Mr. Keep. You know, all these sort of ones. They were smaller than this because this is quite chunky.
Well, from a raceboard, there was the same length, pretty much.
Okay.
But they were a lot thinner.
Yes.
So we almost have a gain of not 100 liter,
Yeah,
but
it's
at
close.
least 60,
Yeah.
60, 70 liter easy.
Yeah.
And they got just easier upwind. You have to see also that cell size, they're all using a 9.5.
Yeah, a lot bigger than we
So
used
the
to.
9.5 will create more power on the rail too. So
Yeah.
you need to make the wall thicker.
Yeah, that makes sense because I remember back in there, was it 7.5 for most of the raceboard classes? I mean, 6 something.
Yeah,
back in,
6.5, 7.5. That was the biggest sale.
then it moved to 8.5, and now what they're on 9.5. 9.5? Did you say
9.5 now.
9.5, yeah.
9.5.
Yeah, so you can put a bigger fin in as well now on the big. On the
You
board.
can put a big fin.
Yeah.
The fin size is about 54, but the tail is very wide too, so you can easily handle this kind of fin. So this is the carbon version.
Yeah.
And we also made a super cool proposal with a full pack at a bit over 3,000 euro.
This one.
Yes, complete rig,
Yeah.
complete AST program. So this is a first approach for people who want to go raceboarding or fun sailing.
Yeah.
With a proposal that is very accessible.
Yeah, so you've also got the foam on the deck. Obviously, you've got the full racing dagger board. When you kick the dagger board, you can do the deck plate as well. Does it go all the way
If
through?
you want,
If you want.
some people don't like it
Yes.
because it kind of smash it too much,
Yeah.
and they kind of have a difficulty to have access to the pedal. Then
Yes.
we have an extender to the pedal like you have here.
Okay, gotcha.
So
you can make
put on.
it either or.
Yeah.
But it looks exciting. I'm interested to see. Maybe we should do some more raceboard videos on the channel because I know there's a lot of people that are still doing it. And how much is this one? Because it's got to be expensive. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking you know, this is a bit of art, isn't it? And it's a big fella.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot going in with the dagger board, with the, you know, everything. So I'm guessing.
Yeah,
It's
and of
expensive.
course, the carbon version is expensive.
Yes.
Compared to a board like this, which is a full AST program. You see, we sell it a bit more than €3,000,
Okay.
including the rig. So
Including the rig?
Including the
Oh,
rig.
okay.
While this board is in the range of €4,000, but it's full carbon.
Okay.
Super light.
Just the board only.
Just the board only.
Yeah.
So it's a board also that you will sell almost every day. You know,
Okay.
in some countries
Yeah.
you don't have so much wind, and on the lake.
Out of interest, have you ever done a speed GPS stuff on this sort of thing? What speeds can the boys get up to on the reaches?
Well, back in the days when we started to do to have the slalom boards going upwind with the race board,
Yeah.
the gain was upwind, was not on
Yeah.
the reach. We were overtaking the guy on slalom board with those slalom boards, you know.
Yeah.
So on the reach, they are narrow.
Yeah.
You know, there is no problem to go over 30 knots with this kind of
That's
board.
what I was going to say, because I think there's a few people out there, and I know this because I've spoke to, and they think they're slow. And I always remember we going to in Weymouth, you know, do a lot of racing in Weymouth Harbour, and a couple of big boys. Danny Ellis was one of them, and he was up on the speed course, burning off people on shortboards.
Yeah.
You know, he's quick.
Well, the rig itself, the race board rig, is not made
Yeah.
to go on really reaching legs, you know.
Yeah.
The courses are upwind, downwind, so
Okay.
those sails are really full, a lot of belly. But if you put the slalom sails on it,
Yeah.
there is no problem reaching leg, and you can go as fast as you can.
I think we're going to have to do some speed challenges on this thing. We're going to have to get you out there. Okay, so that's the race board. Interesting. Love to see that. Let me know in the comments if, you know, race board interests you or you're trying to, you know, get into that sort of scene. And then we've got this bad boy here. And I have to say, this has caught quite a few people's eye, I would say. I'll come around this side. Because it does stand out. Why does it stand out? Because it does. I've walked past again the stand and I'm like, ooh, what's that?
Well, it does stand out, and it's a bit of unexpected attraction for me too when I see all the people coming and checking the board, looking at it, and it looks, what I say, it looks balanced, simple, and
Looks clean
it
somehow.
looks very clean.
Clean, yeah.
So when I designed the board, the reflection for me was, okay, we know what kind of volume we need on the slalom board, for example.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I will put exactly the same volume on a board that is 75 wide, which is 120 liter.
Yeah.
While the boards we designed before, they were almost 40, 50 liter more on volume, but it means also more weight. And then after thinking like that, I thought, but what is the most experienced platform on the water? And I said, it's kite foil.
Yeah.
So they have been designing, refining all the designs for many years now, and they're going 45 knots.
Yeah.
So then I stretch out the rail to look like a kiteboard. The volume distribution is also look like a kiteboard. And from there, I decided I don't need to make so many cutouts on the bottom of the boards, because it doesn't make sense for me, because we have reduced so much the volume. It's so very easy to pop out of the water.
Okay. So what do the cutouts do? They remove surface.
They remove surface and they decrease the volume.
Okay.
So like this, you are able, once the board start to get in motion, you can really pop the foil out of the water. So to do so, I reduced also a lot the rail shape.
This is interesting. Like when you get to that side view, you realise the sort of.
Yeah, so I've bring up the maximum bore as high as possible for a very simple reason, and I scarf the rail. Like this, we get when the board is going sideways, when you foil, you know,
Yes.
you will have a super nice profile in the air, and very often those boards now they are dedicated for reaching.
Yeah.
You don't really go upwind with those boards. They can go upwind, of course, but you don't really go very broad downwind. But on a reaching leg, the wind is when you hit the gas, it will put pressure on the nose of the board, and you will have to compensate on the back foot and then on the front foot. And
Always trimming.
yes, you're always trimming. With this kind of board, it's very neutral, so you don't feel the gust. and therefore you stay in a position very light on the foot, and it keeps accelerating, and it's super easy. It's not physical at all.
So who is this aimed at? It's obviously a foil board. Obviously, everyone knows it's a foil board. But who is it aimed at? Like, who is the customer for this type of board?
Well, with the size of fins all those guys are using now for foil slalom, this board is super easy for a guy who wants to go fast on the foil.
Okay.
You can also, of course, on this type of board, as it is very light, you can go free ride if you want. But it's especially dedicated, and the thought behind is to go fast on reaching.
Okay, so foil slalom,
yes,
pretty much.
That's pretty much foil slalom.
Nice, nice. I asked Monty the same question. Team riders.
Oh, team riders.
I'm going to keep pushing these boys because I want to see it. Like, any talks, any murmurings? You know, obviously, you're one of the best team riders because you're designing the product. You can still sail at a high level. So, you know, in terms of development, you know, you've got a one-man package that's doing everything. But who would you want on the team? Who would you... you know, where are we looking? Are you looking racing? Are you looking wave? What would you speed? Maybe? Are you thinking?
Well, we are very open actually to get a new rider, like a good profile that is pretty much has a perfect package: communication, abilities, skill, and that can be slalom plus slalom foil, of course.
What about someone you could train up? Because I've always thought this. You've got like so much knowledge. You know, the old school boys, you know, you're one of them. You've come up through all that development. You must have so much information. How do you pass that on? I mean, obviously you've got a son, you know, who's interested in the business. Where does it, how do you see that going? Is that a rider you tune up or?
Well, it's first you have to convince a rider that he can learn from guys like me or Monty that have been there for almost over 30 years, you know.
Yeah.
So we are very keen to pass over a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
and I can't really help any riders tuning a board, plus tuning the sail, because that's what I do with Monty too. He's the designer of the sails, but me, I will always give my opinion or change that. I've been designing sails also before, so.
Yeah.
So when you put the package and you get a racer, he goes on the water and he gives me some feedback with feelings on it's a bit like this, a bit like this. Say, okay, no problem. I transform the sails, I take all the buttons away, put some new ones. Is it good? Is it not? Is it better?
Yeah.
And then from this experience, I would transfer it to a future production sails. Give feedback to Monty or future production board. So this knowledge, they have no idea how far we can go by modifying something, because they don't know. They don't know what to touch sometimes.
Yeah, you boys have been through it, haven't you? You've been through the...
I've seen generation where it was no limit. We were using prototypes in PBA, then PWA. So we had access of making all kind of stupid stuff. Were
you, like, back in the day, were you, like, making, like, design stuff on the fly, like, in an event? Were you end up...
No, never.
No, never.
No,
you went there ready and that's it?
Yeah, never. Ready, that's it. I would make maybe between 50 and 70 boats for me in one season for the World Cup. So pretty much on my own workshop. And it was a different era, you know. It was Windsurf was really big. So, and I was doing all the discipline too. You know, you have to see that. I was doing race boats, slalom, waves, a bit of speed. So all this kind of program requires a lot of boards because technology was not as good as we have today. So boards were breaking quicker too. Sails was a bit the same.
And things were moving quick, I guess. You know, designs, I'm guessing.
So we went to very long boards, then to the no-nose boards, and then boards got a bit shorter, a bit wider, a bit easier to sail too. A bit more for the big public with a bigger range. That's where it came from the beginning of Funboard. Boats and sails have more wind range compared to what we had before.
100%. Right, so that's the foil board. We obviously touched on these boards. Any differences to last year? Because we did go through the range, or anything you want to shout out that is particularly a good seller, something that maybe people don't realise? Because sometimes it is like that, isn't it? It's what is your best seller?
Bestseller is definitely the crossboard. That's,
cross.
The cross has been our bestseller for decades now.
Which is free wave type board, or a little bit more,
Free wave.
bit more free ride?
Free ride or not, bump and jump I would call.
Bump and jump, yeah.
But a lot of people like this kind of boards because they can tame the board by putting three fin.
Yes.
The rocker line of the board is almost identical to a slalom board.
Okay, so super fast
It's
rocker.
really quick, this board, and you can sail in many different configurations, either with one fin, then the board will pop up out of the water and go super quick.
Yeah.
A lot of people using it at Defi when it's blasting.
Yes, yeah.
And if you want to tame the board when it's really windy in like free ride condition, you just put a three fin and it will sail on the bottom of the board rather than on the fin, you know.
So south of France with a lot of wind around.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yeah. We have many different sizes too, for big guys, small guys.
What's your range? What's
Range will go for 84 liter starting.
Yeah.
94, 104, 114.
Okay.
So we cover like a lot of people have two boards very
Yes.
often, 84 and 104 for
Yeah.
example. No, this is where they will use.
Yeah.
So that's a very popular board, and what I like, of course, I really like slalom boards. You
Yeah.
know, so on this board, slalom is a bit has been going down for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
Now there is a lot of people back on the fin
Yeah.
because foil has become a bit too extreme for a lot of people, using very small front frame.
Yeah.
The speed, like 2 years ago, a lot of people could be not so far away from the top riders.
Yes.
Like 30 knots was kind of the wow
Yeah.
speed, you know. And now the wow speed is almost 40 knots.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And this gap created this is too much now.
Yeah.
So, because when you fall, it's not funny.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit the same for me. I had a huge crash at 34 knots and was
It's a hard crash as well, isn't it?
maybe I have to slow down a bit.
Yeah.
And so I went back on the fin a lot more than
Okay.
since the last.
I can feel the fin pushing. Like I
Yeah.
just feel it. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm thinking we're going to be seeing more slalom fin stuff coming. And I have heard some rumours about some. Well, we might have to talk about.
Well, you can see DefiWind. We got away from the overall now.
Yeah.
So there is an overall for the fin, for the foil, and for windsurfer.
Yeah.
Three completely
Separate things.
We don't compare who is quicker on the fin or foil.
It's different.
It's different. It's
Yeah.
like you compare a monohull and a cat, you know.
Yeah.
So it's impossible. So we all know foil is more efficient. It's not quicker.
Yeah.
In fin is still a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But foil is super consistent. The transition between a big gas, light wind.
Yeah. The overall.
They don't stop at the jibe so much, you know. So it's just more efficient.
Yeah.
In the gas, a windsurfer can overtake a foil board.
Yeah.
But on a long course like this, the efficiency will pay off. You know?
Huge, especially on the jibes. You see
Especially
it.
on jibes.
It's crazy. I have seen a board around the corner,
Yeah.
which is, like, I've got to show you this because just think it's interesting. And I think it's like quite a cool feature. So we just move around here, which is, I'm guessing this is one of the beginner boards.
Yeah, that's one of that's part of our school program.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest one we have, 220 liter. Then we have 175 liter and another one 155.
And I've got to mention, there's a roller. There's a roller on the board, which I was saying to you before, it makes sense because it's a big old board. When you're learning, one of the bad things is the board's big and it's, relatively heavy. Where if you can pull it with, kids especially.
Well, it is also a lot. All the instructor in
Yeah.
the club, the kids, they will often take the board a ride from the location,
Yeah.
and they will walk towards the water without carrying the board. So it's a lot easier, and it's also preventing damaging the board. As kids will drag, or adult will drag the board on the sand or on rocks, or
My missus would do that.
yeah, it's just because those boards are pretty heavy, and
Yeah.
when you end your session of learning for 2-3 hours, guys are cooked, so they cannot carry the board again. So and so the roller is really useful.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, I think I'm going to say, I can't think there's anything new. I think we touched on the race boards. I think that's super interesting. Like I said, you boys with Monty as well are doing, you know, big stuff in the race board fleets, which is cool to see. You know, that's making a bit of its own little comeback. We're going to see slalom. We're going to see you back on the slalom course.
Or maybe next year for my 60s.
You really? How old are you next year? 60?
No, next year.
Next year.
Next year.
He's going to come back. DefiWind.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Always a pleasure. Patrice Belbeoch in the house. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy that, hit the subscribe button. Check out all the Exocet stuff, and we'll see you for the next one. Don't forget, we're uploading a video every day for the next 2 weeks. So if you haven't checked out up here or even up here, and also subscribe to the channel. And if you do like what we're doing here on Windsurfing TV, you can also chip in some beers.